The petty car, and last I left off, I started doing the roll cage, got it all assembled. I got the dash in there, got the, I don't know why they made the dials clear, but they are. Those are in there. I'm going to paint over it, so it really doesn't matter what color of plastic it is. And pretty much had to just sit and hold the roll bar cage just so it'll, you know, sit in its proper place. I am going to leave one part of the roll bar off, and this part right here actually goes on the inside underneath the dash there, and it really doesn't fit. It's just cumbersome. It's in the way, and it's underneath here, and you are not going to see it. So I'm going to omit that. It was just basically it needs to be in there, but not either, and you really won't be able to see it at all. So that part's going to be on, and it made the dash fit better on there. So I'm leaving that part off. So we can continue on. Roll cage is done. I just got everything tacked in. And basically next weekend we'll be ready to start the motor. But the question's been asked on social media, am I going to paint it? And it's yes, I am. I prefer to put everything together, then paint. I know it's a little harder on some items, but this way, you know, if you paint a part and if you had a problem, you know, trying to get like the dash on, but you already had the roll bar on, it could, you know, scrape the paint and everything. You still have to touch up. So I just omit that part and just paint the whole thing. Plus you can do, and I use a lot of filters and shading, and that helps out with the detail, because we want the effect, you know, even if it isn't an accurate model. That's just, and plus it's my style of doing things. But anyway, that is where I stand on the petty car. The Hearse, I just need to let it dry, but I'm finished with it. I went ahead and took Mr. MIG, which is my new favorite rubber and tire paint now, and I went ahead, man, the light's sucking here. Let's see if I can do that. I did get the tires repainted. I want to do just a little bit more on it, just to make them look realistic. I just need to give it a good wipe down, especially on the glass, because I didn't do that yet, but I think we are good to go on the Hearse. And of course, if you see anything, let me know. I always correct it. Always good to have extra pair of eyes once you when you build model kits. And then the bottom. Just a little bit of weathering on the bottom, nothing much, just to give it a little flavor, and just a little, you know, you don't see stuff like that often. But anyway, so the Hearse is almost done. I may talk about it one more time, and then on to the ambulance. The ambulance, that was quick. I basically started it today. I did like the last. I thought these kits were identical, and they're not. That's the Hearse. That's the ambulance, and it's got a little you know, red cross on the side there, and the whole back end's cut out. That's I really thought they were, you know, two exact vehicles, but pretty close. But anyway, I have to remember that. But anyway, started the Hearse, the ambulance, and I got the motor put together, and then I'll paint that. It's basically gonna be flat black like the bottom of the Hearse, and then I'll start doing the chassis and all that stuff. Anyway, that's where I stand on the ambulance. So it's actually a pretty decent kit. A lot of flash on the motor parts. I had to clean all that up, but I got that on. The Ertl A, I did put one decal on wrong, and then I had to basically make a decal and reverse it. It was one of these right here. One should go here and one should go there. I did it backwards, so no big deal. No one knows our little secret. So I fixed that. I got 1, 2, and on the other side I got to do a couple more decals, and of course the pennants and all that. Finished up the neck. Just started going random, doing the sides of the nacelle here. You know, inside and outside there as well. And I'm basically down, and I hit it all with the ambulance here. I've got the decal sheet whittled down to very little, so hopefully we can get some more on, hopefully this week. If not, I'll have to wait till the weekend, but I like it to really be dry. I don't like to touch it. You can see right there, I've already tried to get that on and broke it off, and which is good because they give you extra saucer decals, and what I do is I always take those and I cut them in squares and stuff, and wherever the decal either screwed up or it didn't fit right, I can always cut up the saucer pattern and just put it on there. It makes it somewhat believable. I mean, better than nothing. But anyway, more on that, and hopefully I'll try to do a light test with it. It makes it look more, the decals help even light block it even more, so I'll show all that next time. What else? Mr. Doggy. I went ahead and I dry brushed a lot of the organs, did a lot of pinks in there, and I really don't know if you can actually see it. And there's supposed to be a blue, and I think it's no, I'm not a medical doctor, don't have an MD, and I just kind of half-assed looked at the organs. There's a blue one, pancreas, whatever, but I saw a lot of ones with yellow in it, so I just went ahead and took yellow and dry brushed a few of the areas here. And then I went ahead and got the rib cage glued on, but I got to put the disclaimer. These were actually broke in the kit, so and it really doesn't fit too well. So I'm just going to glue it together, and we're just going to have to just let it in there and say that's a special doggy. That's just the organs and everything. I mean, it's a cool kit, but it's also frustrating. A lot of people, I assume, wouldn't have built it because it doesn't, stick together like it should. And then I'm gonna get rid of the wash here. I'm not a big fan of the tan wash after looking at it. So what I'm gonna do is, once I get that off, I'm gonna take. I probably don't have it. Well, we'll just take. I'm basically gonna make not a pin wash, but a filter for like bone white, and it'll be more of a tan, but it should be a filter, and it should be really more attuned to the bone color. But anyway, that's where I am on that. I'm going to try my darndest to get Mr. Leg on and Mr. Other Leg on, and then I want to do the wash, and then hopefully by next week I can start putting the dog in its body, and then we can start getting close to finishing that up as well. But anyway, the Proteus, I would talk about that, but we'll probably have to do that in the shed update. I got some plans for this stuff like this. But anyway, that's what I've got going on today. We are doing more decals on the Ertl A. We are starting the ambulance, finishing up the hearse, and the dog gets its rib cage, and mostly the interior is complete on the petty car. So that's what I've got going on today. So stay tuned for the next exciting episode.